Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, November 21st, 2022. That means you've got 4 weeks to get your Christmas shopping done. I don't do much of that. I'll just be honest. I don't do much of that. My wife handles uh, pretty much everything to do with Christmas and stuff like that. Um, she asks her kids, "What do you want?" Then she goes and gets some stuff, and then I find out what they got on Christmas Day because I really don't know. It's like, oh, I'm just as surprised as they are because they're usually not, but I'm more surprised than they are because I just don't know. So anyway, um, temperature wise, we're not too bad today. It did warm up a bit. I think currently, what did I notice it was earlier? It was it got up to 56 today. It's already dropped down to 46. But the weather is supposed to get a little bit warmer this coming week with temperatures in the 60s. I'll give a bell for that. I like that. I do. And I don't like, I've already told you, you already know, I don't like it cold. Nope, not a fan. Not a fan. So I hope everybody's doing well. This is Thanksgiving week. We know how important that is in the USA, and obviously the traditional thing to do is have Thanksgiving dinner with turkey and stuffing and pumpkin pie and mashed potatoes and gravy and all that stuff, and I'm looking forward to it. I do every year. I know that that's pretty much the norm for everybody. And then, of course, when Christmas comes, most people do ham, I think. Some do turkey. I don't know. We do lasagna. Completely different tangent there. We do lasagna. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well. The topic that I brought up was, what are you thankful for this year? And, there's plenty of things to be thankful for. If we still maintain our health and can get through the holidays and winter and summer and spring and all the seasons of the year and still be alive, that's pretty good. Pretty happy about that. Happy to have healthy kids, grandkids, friends, all those sort of things, and the ability to do what I do, working on these cars, rebuilding these cars, doing all that sort of thing. That's a blessing right there. So, hope everybody has similar feelings about what they're doing in their lives and how things are going for them. So let's see who's here tonight. Right off the top, first one in, Ed Cucciarella. Greetings from 75 degrees Southern California. Hope all are doing well. I'll give you a bell for that. That's pretty awesome. 75 degrees? Yeah, I would take that. I would take that. Terry Keithley checking in. Good evening, everyone in Barrie. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Please hit the like and thumbs up. For Barrie, thank you kindly. Yes, hit the thumbs up button. Let YouTube know that we're doing this right now. And that way they'll let other people know, and maybe we'll get more people here. Maybe. Troy Justit, hey, from a cold coastal Georgia, 54 is not normal here. Well, you have to tell us what normal is. I don't know what normal is on the coast. But is 54 too warm? Or is it too cold? Because it's really not a bad temperature. But maybe where you're at, it is. So thanks for being here, Troy. Rick Gain, rough week. Looking forward to a good couple of hours. Thanks, Barry. Well, I'll see what I can put together. And I don't know if I'll make it 2 hours or not. Maybe an hour and a half. But we'll try to hang in there. And hopefully your week goes better. I know typically most of us have off Thursday and Friday. So it should be a short week. Should be a short week. So glad you're here, Rick. Roger checking in from next door. Glad you're here, Raj. And Nandu, good evening, Barry and everyone. Y'all get to share a bell. How about that? Don't want to wear out my bell. Have too many dings. Crash Rider from sunny and cool Southern Indiana. Good evening to everyone. Please give Joe Daddy a like, and he may invite you to a Thanksgiving turkey dinner or not. Well, yeah, probably not. Probably not. Clark Clifford, did Jay Leno get lit on fire? Oh, hi everyone. Yeah, apparently he did. I've already seen pictures of him in recovery or whatever. It's unfortunate that I think it was a steam powered vehicle, had gas involved, and scary stuff, honestly. I give, I've give all the, I mean, literally praise to Jay Leno for what he does. He gets involved. He gets his hands dirty. He gets in there and works on these cars. He understands how they operate, and I kudos to him. Guy's worth millions of dollars, and he's still getting his hands dirty and getting in there. Now, whatever happened, whether it would have happened to him or somebody else, we don't know. If somebody else was turning the wrench at the same way he was doing it, whatever happened, and it blew gas all over the place. It could have been somebody else in his crew that got burned. But Jay Leno he's a blessed guy, really. I mean, all his wealth and his involvement with the automotive industry. I was a little disappointed that he had posted some stuff recently. He drove around on a Ford Lightning truck, the electric truck, had some old man from Washington D.C. driving it around or something. Some old guy he found. He was like, I don't know if the guy was just like wandering around somewhere and they let him drive this truck. So a little disappointed in that. I get it. Jay's got to pay the so-called bills and all that sort of thing, but not too impressed with the electric truck and the old guy driving it around. Not sure who he was. Probably nobody important. A little coffee there. All right. Glad you're here, Clark. Ray Buckman. Heatherberry and all back up to 50s after a week of freezing temperatures. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Let's see. Rick Gain, 36 New Jersey right now. Supposed to go up to 51 tomorrow. Heat wave. Insert sarcasm here. Yeah. Well, I mean, winter. We have to endure winter just like everything else. And much as I hate it, I don't enjoy the cold weather at all. Robert checking in from, I'm guessing, mid-temperature Texas. Ray Buckman. Oh, yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Ray. Robert, brisket and smoked sausage for us on Thursday. We aren't a fan of turkey, etc. I would take that, definitely. Yeah, that sounds really good. Jack W. says, hi, Barry. Hi, Jack. I got your text right before I started, so I haven't had, chance to look at it. But we'll discuss it later. Rick, how was the Bronco? Well, it depends. It depends. I think it's pretty decent. I really do. They did a good job building the body. The lines aren't bad. There are a few things that are out of the control of the people that build these. This is Nashville Broncos, I think is the name of the company up there. And they're not doing any body work at all. But they are doing a real good job of fitting the sheet metal and making it all line up as best they can. Now, there are some things that need to be addressed, and there's some things that won't be addressed. I talked to the owner about it, and I was pointing out some things and saying, look, this is not correct or not right, and blah, blah, blah. And he said, don't worry about it. He said, this thing's going to get driven, and he doesn't want it pristine, perfect, crisp, super crisp body lines and all that sort of thing. And I get it. So I have to adjust my mindset as I'm looking it over, and I'm like, I want to spend hours and hours and hours fixing this and make it look perfect. I can't do that. And, I appreciate that. I really do, because we all get caught up in that whole make sure this line and that line and all these things line up perfect. And I'm probably the worst when it comes to that. But there is something to be said for, hey, let's get a good paint job on it. I'm going to drive this thing. I'm not worried about minor, kind of flaws and misalignments. Don't care. So I can appreciate that. There are some things that I will be fixing. I like I don't know, you can't really, I know you won't see it, but the grill surround there, you can't see it in the video. There's tooling marks, where they stamped it. I can't let that go. Stuff like that's got to be clean and smooth. You don't want tooling marks, like scrapes, in the metal. Just can't happen. There's a few places up in the, like where the grill meets the hood, where the corner of the grill is kind of rounded off a little bit. So I may put a little bit of weld in there just to square up that edge so it lines up better with the fender. Things like that that I can't let go. But it'll come along. It'll be nice. Treasure hunters, good evening from Tennessee. Glad you're here, treasure hunters. Troy, we're normally in the 70s like SoCal. Okay, so you are cold. Yeah. Lynn, hey, happy Turkey Day. Happy Turkey Day to you, Lynn. Looking forward to it. Man, looking forward to it. Rick, my parents saw Jay out in California on his first day substituting for Johnny Carson. Never knew back then how famous he would become. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Jerry, hi Barry, howdy y'all. I have had to relegate Robert to watching you on the small screen. I needed the TV. Well, how is that? The TV's supposed to be out in the garage. The TV is supposed to be out in the garage. What happened? What happened? That's not cool. Something got out of sorts on that one. Glad you're here, Jerry. Mr. Mikey, IL from wet and 40-ish, South Texas. Glad you're here, Mr. Mikey. Let's see. Richard, happy Thanksgiving from sunny Central Florida. Turkey is on the menu. That sounds good. That's a good deal. Ray Buckman. I'll get... I know it's supposed to say Leno, but it says lemon. Had that accident as a passenger in heavy underglass. Also walked away. Great stuff. Yeah, and that was scary. It was. I have to admit. Those are definitely not young guys in there getting tossed around in that car. And you know, I blame the production of that whatever they were doing. Partly from the driver, the guy that owns the car, partly from the production company, because they were asking them to do something that car is not designed to do, and that is turn. That Hemi underglass car, it's meant to go straight, and that's it. And you barely get it to turn doing anything else. And, you know, they were doing it at a little, I forget what the track was, but it's a little racetrack, a little oval. And they were trying to get him to do, show off in this car. Bad decision. Bad decision. And I know the guy was trying to appease the production and Leno and all that sort of thing, but he should have said, no, I can't do that. I can't do that here. We need to do it on a real track to make it, make sense. So, yeah. Now I don't know. I know I hope they were saying they were going to rebuild the car. I don't know if Leno got involved with that and found him parts or what. I never heard any more after that. So, Ish, hello Barry, wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Ish. And I know it's Ishmael, but I'm saying Ish. Ray says Leno for lemon. Wow. Harvey. Hello, Barry. Happy early Thanksgiving. Thankful for a friend who has a great coffee mug. Yes. Yes, it is a great coffee mug. Yep. And good coffee, too. I don't know if Rick's here or not, because Rick had sent me some coffee. Dawn. Hello, folks. From chilly Portland. Rain in the forecast. No surprise, so it will warm up. Well, that'll be good. And Dawn, I have not checked up on you lately. Did you get your primer figured out? I know you were struggling with it. You resanded the car and all that sort of thing. Did you get it to a point where it's sticking correctly? Let us know on that, because I have not checked the videos. So, Shane, the lines look pretty good on the Bronco. I wonder what brands they are. Well, I know that the floor pan is Dynacorn. That much I know. I could probably find out from the owner what the panels are, but I don't know for sure. They did a good job. They did. And I know the owner, he said he picked these people out specifically because of their quality of work that they're known for. So I've had people asked me before about building one of these bodies, and I wouldn't be against it at all. The problem is I don't have a template. I don't have a jig. I don't have measurements. And I'm not going to sit here and measure off this thing and try to use it as a guide. But that's the challenge. You know, these guys build this on a dedicated jig and then have measurements and comparisons and all those sort of things. I know it's not overly complicated. I mean, metal is metal, and if you get the measurements within range, you're good to go. But I wouldn't mind building some, but I would have to have a jig and all the information to do that sort of thing. So, but it does look pretty good. It does. Glad to hear Shane. Dave Conville, good evening all. Glad to hear Dave. And Ray, yes, didn't have enough room for what was done either. Yeah, on that Hemi underglass car. Yeah, it was a very poor choice. Robert, the new TV monitor is in the shop, but I need to pick up material to build a wall to mount it on. She is watching something called basketball on the living room TV. I'm not a sports fan. Yeah, basketball is one thing that I won't watch it. No. That game needs to change. They need to have. They need to raise the net. It needs to be from 10 feet. It needs to go up to 12 feet, I think. And they need to let them tackle each other. They need to have something you can do with tackle, like real take them down type of thing. Maybe like hockey, basket hockey. Have something along those lines. Nope, can't do basketball. And unfortunately, I don't do soccer either. No. I mean, I know there's people that love to watch soccer. I watched it when my kids were, young and teenagers and stuff. After that, it's like, not my thing. So all this World Cup thing, whatever, yeah, you can have it. Jeff Reynolds, hi Barry and family, wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. Well, thank you, Jeff. Obviously, I'm sure you don't celebrate Thanksgiving over there, but yeah, thank you for that. Jeff Barry, I'm thankful for all the women in this world. Okay. I don't know about all, but most. I'll go with most. If it weren't for women, I guess he's saying if it weren't for women, I'm assuming that's what you're trying to say. There wouldn't be cookies. Well, that's valid. I guess, yeah. That's valid. Nick checking in. Hello, Nick. Glad you were here. Rick Stevenson. Good evening, Barry. Sorry I'm late. That's okay. You and Nick get to share a bell. That's how it works. Dawn. No video to check. Eastwood Epoxy just arrived, so I'm in the booth shooting the last test panel. Have not tried scratching it off yet, so no results. Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Rick, just let the basketball players carry hockey sticks. Would make for an interesting game. Yeah. Or they all have to have one arm tied behind their back. Hey, you think you're good at shooting hoops? Let's see it. Tie one arm behind your back the whole game. Run around, playing defense, Yeah. And Jerry says, it is sad that Robert doesn't embrace sports, but yet I show interest in cars. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you need to find the right sport. Like curling. Maybe curling would be more of a thing he could watch. There's a strategy in that. Curling. Rick, if it weren't for a woman, Barry would have to do his own Christmas shopping. Valid point, Rick. Valid point. And basically my Christmas shopping comes down to, here's some money, kids. Here's some money. Right, basketball sucks. I'm even having trouble watching football these days. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Next is concrete basketball. Well, I don't know about that. That would be kind of tough. And Jeff is laughing at Rick. Okay. So, anyway, I'm hoping everybody has gotten something done on their vehicles. You know, those of you that have projects that you're working. Um, I haven't. I haven't. This kind of got, you know, a little in the way. You know, I was wanting to work on. I still need. Well, I still need to finish up the rear post section that I'm building for the frame jig. So I need to get that taken care of, and I'm still working on a video for the for Yes Welder, and so that's going to take a little bit of uh, effort to get that finished because I'm having a bit of difficulty with understanding some of the stuff they translate. Just doesn't work well. Um, so I'm downloading a picture right now. Nick just reminded me because we know Nick has done some really cool stuff to his car, and I tried to show some pictures and video, or we had a video sound last week, and Nick suggested that I show the render of his car because he had somebody, you know, not draw it, but render it, let's say. So check this out. Now the render is a little more crisp than what it's showing. The image I have of I got from him is tighter than that, but I like it. I like it a lot. I like the two-tone. I like the Shelby front end, big wheels. You got some, I don't know if those are Bear brakes or Willwood brakes, but yeah. And even it looks like it even in the image they shaved the roof rails and did away because I know you were Nick had said he was shaving off the rain gutters, and I think bought the wide glass to do away with the trim. Now that shows some trim on there, so Nick has to fill us in on that and let us know what the status is. So let's see. Michael, basketball on ice. Let's go Bruins. Okay, that works. That works good. Robert, Nick made a center console that was floating around in. Oh yeah, made that center console. Yes. Oh wait, Mr. Mikey says 67 render pick. I think his is 68. His is 68. So, all right, let me pull that back down. Go back to comments. Nick says only thing that's not really correct on that is the mirror. It should be a Ring Brothers mirror. Now, see, I wouldn't know the difference. I don't know what their mirror looks like, so I'll take your word for it. And then Nick says he also abandoned the flush glass. Okay. Yeah, I don't blame you on that. That would be a bit of a challenge to get all that to look right. So I don't blame you for that. Don't blame me at all. All right, let's see. Doyle. Hey, all, taking a break from the car to do some holiday baking. My other hobby, I am making homemade pumpkin pies this year. Hey, more power to you. That's pretty awesome. I think I've made one pie in my life, and it was apple. It was okay. But kudos to you for doing that. Ray Buckman, parts gathering for my Ranger parts runner. Get me to work and home ride. Brakes are ordered for now, but suspension steering parts will be ordered soon. Also, a few minor things coming for the vet. Okay. Speaking of orders, Jack had sent me a link earlier today that Kentucky Mustang was offering. They're doing a Black Friday sale, and I don't know the numbers that came up when you punch it in. It sounds like it's supposed to change when you go to the cart and check out or whatever. I don't know, and I don't know if it's a 10% off or but the link that I pulled up was showing the fastback conversion kit. They were wanting $64.95, I think, plus tax. for all the pieces. That's both sides, both quarters, the roof, the deck filler, I think the deck lid too, tail panel, trunk filler pieces, extensions, and then all the pieces for the spring or the hinges. So it probably is a decent deal. And I was looking at it. They uh, I think the shipping from them was like $800. I think is what it was, and that's all well and good. $800, but that place is about 6 hours away, up in Kentucky. Um, yeah, I'd have to. I see Roger saying where is Kentucky Mustangs? It is east of. I don't know. I'd have to just Google it, but I know it's on more towards the east side of Kentucky or whatever. Um, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So Nick has sent me another image. If I can get it to download correctly. Okay. So he said this is the. Oh wait, let me go back up here a little bit. Nick says he wants the car done by May, and I don't want any more delays. Okay, dealing with the glass. Ray says Ring Brothers too expensive, and sent a pic of the mirror if it matters. So let me just pull that up, so you get a look at what they're using for a mirror for Ring Brothers. So it looks like I don't know if that's a turn signal on the side. I don't know what that is. I see a little red indicator, a red section. It could be just a piece of billet, something, just for accent. But that I don't know if I don't know if that's my style, but I get it for your car. For your design. I think that works. That makes me think of an old. What do I think of? Some of the old car mirrors like that had a ball in the center, and you pivot it around. That's what it looks like. So maybe they're kind of implementing the old design with a new twist on it. Let's see, Robert. Also, Summit has much of their Scott Drake parts on sale right now as well. Tempted to buy bumpers. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the quality. Any of these bumpers are kind of sketchy anyway. So I don't know if they're any better than any others. Let's see, Robert. For $800, I'll pick it up and bring it to you. Well, we'll see. I mean, it would be a trip. It would be a trip. I mean, it's like 6.5 hours to get up there. Troy says sounds like a Kentucky road trip. It very possibly could be. Very possibly could be. I'm not against doing that. And Robert Bloxham, happy Thanksgiving all. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Robert, as well. Okay, so I have to debate on whether I want to take advantage of the sale at Kentucky Mustang. Similar parts from CJ Pony, which is, I don't know if they have, I know they have a place in Pennsylvania. I don't know if there's somewhere else, but their shipping was $1,600 to get it to me. And my wife and I talked about making a possible trip to Pennsylvania to visit relatives, but they're on the west side of the state, and CJ Pony is on the east side of the state. And so I said, I don't mind making the trip, but if we do, we got to drive over to CJ Pony and pick those up. But I may have to pursue the Kentucky Mustang thing and see what their schedule is. Like, if I were to make the purchase, when is it that I have to, or how long do I have to get there and get it? You know what I mean? Because sometimes it says you can pick it up at their warehouse or whatever. So I don't know. We'll have to do some math and figure out if it can happen. Doyle, question. I bought new front and rear bumpers for the Cutlass. Should I paint the inside of the bumper before installation? It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. I don't know what they use on those, because I know they usually it's a multi-chrome process, right? They got nickel plating and whatever. On the inside, I would use something that's pretty durable, like Chassis Saver or Pour 15 or something like that. That's pretty tough. So, or even Rust-Oleum. You could probably get by with Rust-Oleum, but just something that's going to coat it all, make sure it's all clean and degreased, and obviously, prepped right, and then coat it. I don't think there's anything negative about doing that. Rick, for what the repairs on my 65 ended up costing, I may have been better off doing a fastback conversion. May have, but the thing that makes me nervous about all these people doing these fastback conversions, where does it stop? Like, I still want to do the 67 as a fastback. I do, and I plan to make that happen. And I've had several people suggest that I take the blue Mustang, the Poco car, I call it Poco, and make it a fastback. I don't want to do that. I just don't. Only reason I want to do the 67 is because it has so many issues with rust and poor work that was done to it that it'll be further ahead to make it a fastback, the way I look at it. So I just don't want everybody buying up the coupes just to convert them into fastbacks, because then you flood the market with conversion cars, and then which one is more valuable overall? It's hard to say. I really like the coupes. I really do. I think they're nice. But I just don't want to have everybody scooping these things up and cutting them up and turning them into fastbacks. I get it. It's what people want, but there seems that you need a balance on that thing. You need a balance on that stuff. Robert says, I believe they have a place in Vegas. Talking about CJ? I'd have to look up. I don't even know. Robert, NPD isn't far from you, but they are generally more expensive. Yes. Yeah. Junker Clunkers, I'd love to donate to the fastback conversion. Well, that would be a great thing. That would be a great thing. I'm not sure what would be an easy way for that to happen, but I mean, donations are welcome. Donations are welcome. Junker, how long do you think the Mustang process is going to take you to do the fastback conversion? I really don't know. The problem is right now, I say problem, it's a good problem to have, is I have things to do. I have other things to do. One of those is sitting right behind me. So I have to get that painted and out the door. And then there will be a 69 fastback coming for me to do all the sheet metal work on. So that's the next thing after this Bronco. The blue Mustang is just, it's one of those back burner type of things. Even the red one that I have is sitting on the back burner. It's not not a priority. So probably at this point it'll be the Bronco, get it done, get the Mustang in, the 69 Mustang in here, get it taken care of, and then the next thing would be probably the 67 fastback conversion. So, and I don't know exactly. Again, you hear about people who they do it in a couple weeks, and the reality is, yeah, if I wanted to focus and just take care of it and get it done, I could probably do it in a week or two at tops. But the reality is, for me, I film everything. And I mean, if y'all watch my stuff, I film just about everything I do. And I try to put that information out there. So anytime and Wally can attest to this, and Robert can as well, and Greg, anytime you do that sort of thing, it slows you down. It definitely slows you down. There's lots of things to consider when you're filming, and you may have forgotten something, or you need to change an idea, so you start all over again, redo some shots and all that thing, and then all that, of course, all the editing, and there's lots involved. Lots involved. Bob Shoemaker, only 30 minutes late, but made it. Well, that's all right, Bob. Glad you're here. Terry says, Barry, you could turn it into a fastback. No. Not going to do that to that. No. Hopefully there's some good news on that. I don't want to get into it, but hopefully there's some good news on that. We'll find out. We'll find out. Greg's Workshop checking in. Hi, Greg. Whoops, wait. There you go. Give you a better bell. Robert, I have a hard time getting into a fastback since it's designed for short people. A convertible would be a better fit for me. Yeah, you're not a small person, so I get that. I mean, even I'm 5'10", and even getting into in the regular Mustang, I have to kind of roll into it, But yeah, I get that. Wally, I think it has started already. What? Oh, and he's okay. I was looking at coupes, and the price is up 20% at least. Well, yeah. I'm still not on the I'm not on the train to convert all of the coupes to fastbacks. I'm not. Oh, speaking of fastbacks, I was following one on Facebook Marketplace. The guy listed it several weeks ago, and I contacted him, and it's there's not much there. It's a show, and I contacted him and said, "Hey, I'm interested in looking at it," and he said, "Okay," and then it was like a week later, the ad was down. It was gone, and I thought, "Okay, he sold it." Back up again, and I said, "Oh," I said, "I thought you sold it." And he said, "Nope, still have it." So I don't know what happened, but I may try to go look at it. It is a '69 V8 car, but it's a shell. It's a shell, but it's still probably worth looking at. Lynn, I know the fastback is the desired Mustang, but I like the coupes better. Something about the rear deck lid that I like. I agree. I get kind of, I go back and forth on it, honestly. I really like the looks of the coupe. I do. It makes sense. The function of it makes sense. The everything just proportionally makes sense. And then the fastback, at times I really like the way they look, and at times I can't stand them. Be honest. It's the truth. I don't know what it is. If it's certain angles that I look at it, I'm like, oh, the proportions are wrong. And then I look at it from another angle, and it's like, okay, now I get it. It looks better. Or the ones that they took the vents out and they put the glass in the rear, in the sail panel. I like that. I like that glass in that sail panel. I think that's a cool feature. But I'm with you. Sometimes it just the coupe looks better proportionally to me. Junker Clunkers, I'm new to your channel and love the content. Thank you, Junker Clunkers. I know you have sent me some links on stuff that you're doing on your channel as well. I've watched a few of those. So, Greg says, nice Ford. Yes. Nice Bronco. Ed, I can drop off the sheet metal when picking up the Mustang we don't speak about. Yeah. Well, maybe that it's going to be changed here. Maybe, I'm not holding my breath, but maybe that's going to change here in very shortly. Maybe. Troy, what's the word on the Camaro? Have parts become available yet? I have not heard anything, so I'm not even focused on it at this point. I'm not going to pull it back in here with all the other stuff that I have going on. So for now, it's going to have to sit and wait. Just how it is. Junker Clunkers. I have a 66 coupe. I'm doing complete floor, trunk, wheelhouses, frame rails, tail pan, and everything in between. Okay, so you started with a set of door hinges. Then you're building a Mustang. That's the way I look at that. Rick, it's somebody from Motor Trend to help. You could have the fastback conversion done in 44 minutes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen that the video where they're like, "Yep, just cut it off and weld it on. You're done." Yep. Greg's Workshop. To do a good paint job, you take your time. Yes, very much so. Very much so. Tell you, I hope so for you. Yeah, me too. Maybe I can get my sanity back. Dawn's manufactured coupes are more utilitarian. That's the word of the day, Dawn. Utilitarian. You're right. They are. Ray, I've been watching for Fastback 65, 66 with tons of work required are starting at 12K with motor and trans 14. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had somebody ask me the other day if I was going to sell Jade. And I was like, yeah, I'd sell it. And they said, what would you probably sell it for? I said, my mind tells me 35. That's where my mind is. So whether I could actually get that or not, I don't know. But I would probably let it go for 35. Rick says, truthfully, I do like the coupe better as well. When I bought my 65, it even came with a luggage rack on the trunk. Yeah, that's a rare option that most people don't want. All it did was kind of cause problems with the trunk lid. So, yeah. Dawn, better visibility, smaller blind spot. Yep. Yep. Doyle, have you ever done a resto mod with a modern drivetrain, interiors, etc.? No, not really. I have not. I have considered putting it, if I did finish that Camaro, I was going to put an LS in it, but everybody's doing that now, so it's not like some big, big deal. It's not a challenge. They sell all the pieces to make it happen. So, Dawn says, Greg, yeah, paint gob is what I got. Yeah. Yep. Junker Clunkers. I have a 289, the T5 transmission, Super Victor high-rise intake, 600 carb, mini jet breather, and valve covers, fob log inversion, hooker headers, Willwood front conversion. The list doesn't seem to stop. Doesn't stop. Oh yeah, a 9-inch rear end. Okay. Yep. Well, that's gonna be a good project. Her Scrambler. Everyone is crazy for Broncos nowadays. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. They are. Rick Stevenson, I paid $400 for my 68 coupe. Yep. I just saw another one on Marketplace pop up. Literally the most basic shell you could get. This one was at the same place that I picked up the red Dave car, the red 68 that I got. And it was sitting there 2 years ago when I found that car. And there's nothing there. It's literally quarter panels, a roof, floor pan, front frame rails, and aprons. No front suspension, no drivetrain, no fenders, no hood, no glass, nothing. And I know the quarters are hacked off in the back. So, and it was a 6-cylinder car. And I have it listed for $1,000. No, not going to do that. $400, maybe, but not 1,000. Ray says yours is like brand new. Yeah, it's pretty close. It is pretty close. Yep, can't get much closer. Although mine has probably better body lines than the original. Rick, as far as utilitarian, what about the guy that turned the Mustang into a pickup truck? Well, the Mustero is what you're referring to, or at least that's one company name they called it, the Mustero. And I forget how many of those were actually made. I think it's only like 50 or something. But it sort of worked. It sort of worked. Not going to haul much, but sort of worked. Dave Convoy, I can see Jack W. cringing from here regarding this fastback versus coupe discussion. His is a cool car, though. It is. It is a cool car. Junker Clucker's 10 years going on my 66. Oh, well, you got plenty of time to finish it then. Mr. Mikey, reverb radio blaring in the back of a fastback sounded tinny and cheap when I was in high school in 1967. Could it have just been the radio? Because I know they didn't have much in the way of radios back then. Junker, I know you said you checked out my channel, but did you see my 61 Falcon delivery? It's a really cool rig. I did see it. I probably didn't comment on it, but yeah, those are pretty cool looking vehicles. That's a kind of a rarity, you know, a 61 Falcon delivery. Yeah, that's a rare vehicle, I would imagine at this point. Rick Stevenson, mine had the original 289 4-speed. Points plus and rebuilt carb had it running. Oh, well, hey, that's hard to beat. That is hard to beat. I guess y'all probably saw the, I think I showed a video of the blue car when I took it apart, and the engine was sitting on the passenger side floor, along with the transmission, the heads, the intake manifold, all that stuff. So I'm going to have to make a decision on that too, because I've got some ideas for the blue car, and Robert has shown me some stuff that I'm really interested in with a suspension kit. I can't remember who made the kit, but it's an upgrade for the front suspension, and I really liked that idea. So I may be looking at getting one of those kits. I kind of wish that I would have had that kit, or thought about doing that to Jade. I would have liked to have upgraded the front suspension, but too late now. I'm not digging into it and cutting it apart and starting over. It's together, and that's the way it's going to stay. So I have another email Lynn has sent me, and it says, I stepped up my game last weekend with an EFI Sniper Master Kit and Patriot long tube headers. This weekend is sequential taillights and halo headlights. Happy Thanksgiving. So let me show you what he's got going on here. Check that out. That's cool. I like it. I like it. And it's got the monitor where you can control variables in the system. So that's a cool setup. Looks good. Now I see you've got some lines capped off. This was an AC car? Factory AC car? I can't really tell by the picture. It's kind of small on my screen. Yeah, I'm going to say it was a factory AC car. Yeah, it's got the little holes in the apron as well. And are those Dynacorn hinges you put in there? Because I really like those hinges. If I ever, whatever I work on next, it'll have those Dynacorn hinges on the under the hood. So let me go back to comments. Oh, wait a minute. So Dawn has also sent me a picture. So let's get caught up with what else I said here. Yeah, the Falcon delivery, very rare. Yep. Dawn says he just sent a pic of the test panel. So let me get that. Got to let the thing bounce off the satellite. Uh-oh, wait a minute. It says I have too many pictures. So let me delete a couple of these. Try this one more time. Because I do have a lot of pictures on here that take up space, I assume. So I know Don was working on this. And what he did was, I don't remember specifically, Don will have to tell us, but he was experimenting with different materials on this floor pan because he wanted to see how everything reacted. So, Don, you'll have to give us a breakdown of what's what on there so we have an idea. So while we're doing that, let me see what Robert says. We'll let you know how that suspension kit turns out. Okay. Junker, do you think I will need to make a jig for my 6.6 Mustang? That I don't know for sure. I don't know what's left that's solid. Like if it has rocker panels that are still good, I'd have to see it to really know. But I mean, I've done some pretty extensive work without a jig, but I have a lot of experience with these cars too, so I'm pretty familiar with them. Michael, RRS kit LS6 with a 6-speed. Okay. That sounds interesting. Jack says Cooper Fastback, they are all cool. Love them all. 64.5 to 70. Yeah. I kind of want to push the 64 out of the picture myself, the 64.5, because it's such an oddball. Yeah, it's still a cool looking car. You know, the body lines is same 64, 5, and 6, but some of the weird stuff they did on that car, because it was a glorified Falcon, honestly, but kind of push that one off. Let it be by itself where it needs to be. Let's see, Nick. Yeah, that sniper is nice stuff. What I'm using for now. Okay. Lynn says yes, it's a factory AC car. It also has a delay wipers pedal. I have not seen that in person. That's pretty cool. That's a neat option. Nick, literally got a phone with a resto shop about painting my car for me. I got to find a way to do it myself. I just don't know if I have the room now. And he says he is supposed to take a look Saturday for a better estimate, but man, I want to cry. Well, Nick, if you don't want to share, that's fine. I don't know what kind of estimate you got. I don't know. If you don't want to share, that's fine. I know it's not cheap. It is not cheap. Junker Clunkers, $5 donation. Thank you. Thank you for the awesome content. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. Junker, would you have some time soon to chat? Well, we'll have to see. Maybe we can converse a little bit on Instagram. You know, maybe. Let's see what's going on. Okay, Dawn says near too far. I'm not sure what's. You have to tell me what the near to far is, though, because I don't know what's what. Unless you posted something and it didn't come through, and I missed it. Yeah. Okay. You have to give a little more detail, Don. Rick, definitely above my skill level, but does anybody make a jig you can buy for the old Mustangs? I don't know if they make a specific jig or not. I think most people just build them, like I'm doing. You know, and I think my jig is going to work out. Now, is it something I would want to make more of? Probably not. Once I make this one, I doubt I'll do anything else to it. I will try to experiment a little bit when the 69 gets here, and I may add some features to this one on the for the 69. If it can, if some of it overlaps, great. But I don't want to dedicate anything to the 69. I like the 65 to 68 pan setup, and so that's where I want to kind of stick. So if it's a few minor things that I could add to or change for the 69 to work, I may do that, but we'll see. Next is 10,000 plus with emphasis on the plus most likely. Yep. And that's 10,000 is probably on the low end, honestly. It's probably on the low end. Dawn, near to far. Okay, let me pull it back up. Near to far, Eastwood DTM, I believe that's direct to metal. Omni MP170, that would be, I'm assuming epoxy. Keystone 860, and then Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer catalyzed. Will test after a couple of days. Okay. Eastwood DTM is direct to metal. Omni MP170. I think it's what I have on the shelf. I think. So, all right. Thank you, Don. Appreciate that. Junkers says, where are you located? I'm south of Atlanta. Nick, not the only shop that gave me an estimate in that ballpark. Where am I located? Oh, basically St. Louis. I don't know if he was asking me or you. So, Terry Keithley, if you're looking to buy a welder, would you buy a Yes welder? That's a good question. That is a very good question. You all already know I've received multiple welding machines from Yes Welder. In fact, that's what I'm working on a video right now. And the first welder they sent me was the MiG 205DS, I think is what it was. And it was light blue. And I set the thing up and I tried to use it and I struggled with it. It just didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do. Now, I'm also kind of, I don't know, spoiled or is the term or not. I'm used to the Lincoln that I use. And I can do a lot of magic stuff with the Lincoln. And when I was using the Yes welder, the first one, it wasn't the same. And now, can I define that? Sort of. When I was using the MiG or the Lincoln, it's like it's on. When you hit the trigger and it starts to feed, it's on, right? It's hot right then. And with the Yes welder, what I experienced was you'd hit the trigger and it would feed a little bit of wire and it would have to make it seemed like a moment of contact, and then it would start putting power to it. So it was kind of a delay kind of feel to it. So I didn't like that because I was used to my Lincoln. Well, then they sent me a variety. They sent me some other welders. The one that I have now on my welding cart. Let me just roll it over here so you can see what I got. So you've already seen my welding cart before. This is my homemade welding rig. All my clamps. This is the Yes Welder MP200, and I've used this on the frame jig exclusively. Fantastic. What I really like about this one is the controls on it allow you to select your metal thickness, your gas type, your wire type, whether you're using stainless or regular wire or whatever, your thickness, your burn back time. You can actually have settings on it to where if you want it to pre-program like 10 different settings, you can do all that. But this one also has MIG, TIG, stick, and plasma cutter built in. So this is a really nice rig, the MP200. However, let me show you what the other one is, because I'm just starting to get this one figured out. Okay, now you probably can't see it very well. I didn't know that latched. Let me pull down your question so you can maybe see it better. Okay, so this is a new version of the MiG 205 DS. And what I'm finding with this one is it has some parameters on it that are pretty cool. But I have a little bit of trouble understanding some of their terminology. Because when I turn it on, there's readings up here, and I talked about this before. They have this this is their operation sheet, whatever, and it has like HS is arc start current, BBT is the end arc current, which is BBT is burn back time. Dig is arc force. I don't know where they come up with these terms. ANT is anti-stick. That's not for the regular welding. RIN, RIN, feeder speed. So that would be your wire speed. And HS, that again is variation, hot start current. So some of the stuff they're using for terminology I don't like. But I did put wire in this, hooked it up, and did some welding with it. And it actually welded really, really nice. So it's going to take just a little bit of time to get everything figured out. It does have presets for different thicknesses of wire. It does have your different settings for your argon CO2, or flux core, or aluminum. This came with a spool gun, so you could weld aluminum with it. And then it has manual MIG and synergic MIG. So to me, that's more of an automated setup when you have that synergic, I assume. But so far, I'm liking this welder. Now, I've also had I've had several other companies contact me and say, hey, we want to send you a welder. I've had one from a company called Vivor. Don't know who they are, but they want to send me a welder. I have another one called Arc Captain. They want to send me a welder. And then there was somebody else that wanted to send me a welder. And, you know, I'm not under contract. It's not like Yes Welder's not paying me anything to promote their welders. They're just giving me these machines. But I think I'm going to be okay with this MiG 205 DS. So if you're interested, I know that I probably have it posted somewhere. I don't know if I can come up with a more dedicated way to do it. Supposedly I get a discount or some sort of discount or something that I can offer to people on any of these welders. I have to find that link again. I'm not very good at keeping up with that stuff. But yeah, I think it'll be okay. But good question. Thank you, Terry. Mr. Mikey, is Don expecting some to scratch off? Well, he had a problem with it on when he first applied material to his car. It wasn't sticking very well, so that's what he's going to experiment with. Junker says, "Oh well, I'm up in New Hampshire, aka the Rust Belt. Yeah, the Rust Belt that extends all the way down to what, Maryland? Because I grew up in Pennsylvania, so yeah, Rust Belt went way down into Maryland, probably even Kentucky, and everything west of that." Robert, here in Texas, guys used to drive across the border and have their cars painted. I can build a car for what a paint job costs, so I'm okay with my own painting. Yep. Dave, is there time for an A question? Did you upgrade electrical or ignition on your Model A? I'm thinking about an electronic ignition 12 volt. I did upgrade to 12 volt and I made it negative ground like it should be. I did rewire everything. It's all new wiring. I did not, I left the starter alone. It's still the 6 volt setup. So it spins really good when you put 12 volts to it. I'll say that. And I did convert it to, I didn't put electronic ignition. I kept it as points. So good question. Haven't had any issues with any of it at all. Shane, I've been welding since the early 80s. At this point, my MIGs, 110 and 220 are Lincolns. My stick welder is an old Miller. Wouldn't change them for anything. Yeah, I mean, I have a Lincoln. I have two Lincolns on here. I have a Lincoln gas welder and a Lincoln flux core on the bottom. And I've got two MiG 205 DSs from Yes Welder. I think I have at least one MP200, and there's some other one I have, and then a plasma cutter they sent me as well. And I'm happy with the plasma cutter too. Dawn sent a pic of epoxy primer which appears to have not gone off after pot life expired. Keystone 850 860, probably why it didn't stick. Okay. So let me pull this pic up and see if I can't get it on here as well. So this is from Dawn. Okay, so you said it appears to have not, I don't understand what that means, to have not gone off after pot life expired. Oh, okay. So it didn't cure? So that was in the cup. Is that what you're saying? So after the pot life time expired, it didn't cure out. Okay. I think it's what you're saying. I get it. Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good sign. Dawn says, Mr. Mikey will use old scratch test and then apply tape and see if it'll pull off. We use my own feather and scrape test as well. Okay. Greg says, Barry, wish someone would send me a new welder. Yeah. Well, the difficulty, like I said, is trying to figure out making the translation of what this says to what it's supposed to mean. That's kind of like, so I've just been playing with the dials, trying to figure it out. Mr. Mikey, it says Dawn's manufacturer. Got it. Okay. Robert, the question is, how many starts can you get out of a 6-volt starter running on 12 volt like Tootsie Roll Pop? The world may never know. I'm telling you, the thing, it spins up really quick. If it fails, it fails. I'll rebuild it, or have somebody rebuild it for me, I should say. Because that's all I did with the original one, had it rebuilt. Okay, so I have another picture to show you. Let me go back up here and delete some things. All right, hold on a second. So Lynn has sent me a picture of the delay wiper foot pedal. Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about the pump? Does that act as a delay? I guess I'm not. Maybe I haven't even tried that. I guess you're talking about the foot pump for the sprayers, right? Because I have not tried that to see. I guess it would though. Maybe I was confused by that because I have not tried that. I know whenever I put mine in, I had that same kind of speaker deal. I moved my pedal over so I could access it easier. Now I get it. Okay. Yeah, windshield wiper pedal. Okay, pull that back down. Yeah, Don Robert's saying looks like the hardener went bad. Yeah, that's one thing you don't want. Have those have the chemical mix go bad. Dave, thanks for the A info with the upgrade. Do you still just spark as you would stock? I read somewhere that the 12 negates that. Didn't really make sense. You talking about the advanced timing with the column on the advance or retard the timing? I have. I don't see a whole lot of difference. I mean, I could see a little bit like helping it idle down, because you got your idle control, but I can also slow it a little bit with the timing. So I do use that. Yeah. Rick, are there any situations you feel flux core may be better to use than gas? I have heard that the times flux can provide a stronger joint because the shield is closer. I have used flux core for some heavy welding. Um, to me, I mean, flux core is very similar to like stick welding because the stick has the shielding material on the rod, and as you burn it, it protects the weld as you go in. Whereas the flux core, it's inside of the core or inside the wire, and it does kind of the same thing. So it ends up being you know, a dirtier looking weld overall, but you can get some pretty deep penetration and heat with the flux core. Now, I've heard of people doing sheet metal work with flux core. Not a fan. Not going to do that. Not even. I won't even get close to doing that. But welding like a heavy frame or something, yeah, I wouldn't have any problem with that. Bob Shoemaker, a lot of guys left 6-volt starters in their 8N Ford tractors, and they lasted a long time. Yep, they're pretty durable. They're pretty durable. Dave says yes, timing advanced. Yep. Rick, I don't have any ice cream tonight, so I had to settle for Cool Ranch Doritos. Good enough. Good enough. Busted Knuckle Garage, Tommy checking in from Alabama. Glad you're here, Tommy. Hope all is well with you, and I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving coming up. We've been talking about, being thankful for different things and all that. And, let's see. Dave says flux core outside in the wind. That's a valid point. Yes. That's a really good advantage to the flux core as well, is the fact that you can just use it. You don't have to have that extra gas bottle. It's more portable. You can just show up, plug in, go, and do a repair on something. Great for like on a farm or something like that. Yeah, very handy. Dawn says on the A, seems like one would retard the timing when using hand crank. That's a very good possibility. I won't do that. I won't use a hand crank. Nope. Nope. I don't care how I don't care how many people do it or are happy with doing it. No. I don't want to take that chance. There's nothing like having a engine kick back on you, and now you've got a broken wrist. Nope. I'll push start it first before I do that. But I could see that may benefit. Yeah, that may benefit. I was gonna, yeah. I was talking earlier about the suspension setup that Robert had sent me pictures of, and what I liked about it was it does away with the strut rods, and it bolts on like this big U-shaped piece goes to the frame rails. You get rid of where the strut rod connects on the frame in the front, where underneath the core support and the rails, that gets removed, and you end up with actual real lower A-arm with 2 mount points instead of the single skinny A-arm. You get a wide A-arm, coil spring, coil over type of setup, and it looks really good. It looks really good. Dawn on the A. Okay, sorry. Mr. Mikey, Where is your coffee cup with logo sold? If you go to probably any of my videos and you look underneath, there's a merchandise banner, and it's usually t-shirts and stuff showing there. If you click on that, it should take you to my Teespring page, and everything is listed there. Not the hats. The hats are not on there. But the t-shirts, and I have a variety of different designs on the t-shirts. The coffee mugs are there. I think there's some posters and stuff like that. So, in fact, I think I still have one in here. Yeah, I have a poster. I probably should have put it up by now. So I have this. You can get a poster on there too if you want one. Kind of cool. But it should be on any of the videos. Like I said, in that lower banner section, or you could go to. It's not Teespring anymore. Now they call it Spring. They did away with T, so it's Spring. You could probably search on Spring for Joe Daddy's Garage, and it should pop up. Good question, though, Mr. Mikey. Thank you. Dave Conville, not using hand crank. I like my forearm thumb where it is. Yeah. Well, I know I've talked about this before, but this seems like a good opportunity to talk about it again. So since we're on the subject, I'm going to go ahead. I'll repeat a junkyard story. Sorry, but this is a valid junkyard story, and it's worth repeating. So, and I know you've heard this, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. Some of you may not have. My brother, who was 6 years older than me, and twice as thick as I am, strong as literally as an ox, he would hand crank everything that he could. I mean, if he could figure out a way to put a crank, he would actually. He had a 49, I think it was a 49 Studebaker truck on a Ford 4-wheel drive chassis, but he had a Studebaker engine in it, transmission, and then the Ford transfer case behind it. He doctored it all up. He would actually start his Studebaker. Now we're talking a V8, okay? A V8 Studebaker truck with a hand crank. And it was something to see, let me tell you. He'd get underneath that thing and fire it up. And I would never even try that. No, not going to do it. Well, the thing is, we had this tractor. It was an Alice Chalmers tractor up at the junkyard. And he would hand crank that thing. And one day, I think I was still in school for aircraft maintenance. And one thing they told us at that time was don't get hurt so that you don't get delayed on finishing your school, right? You don't want to get kicked back a semester. And so he wanted to start up this tractor. This is in the middle of winter. And he said he would get on the tractor and he told me to crank it. And I'm like, I just tried a couple of times and I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't want this thing to kick back, break my hand or wrist. It's not worth it. I'm not going to do it. And so, of course, my big brother, he calls me a name. Insert bad name here. Get out of the way. And so he gets his crank and he's hits it once, hits it twice, does some adjustment on the whatever, throttle, whatever, choke, I don't know. And then he goes to hit it the third time and the crank came off of the tractor. It came out of the holder. And now he's got this rotating mass. I mean, you know how they're made. You know what they look like. So where did I have that thing? Where did I put that? I have a jack handle crank laying around there somewhere. But anyway, he slung that thing around. Where did I put that? Oh, yeah. Here's a visual. So he had slung that thing around, and it turned, and it came up, and it went whack, hit him right in the forehead. And you know what it's like when you hit a coconut with a hammer? That's what it was like. Thunk. And now he had on a pullover cap, like it was wintertime, so he had a pullover knit cap on. And I'll never forget the images of what I saw because, and like my brother is a lot tougher than I am. I'll say that. But he sat there and he's like, oh, holding his head, and he takes, and I see him. It was like on his left side. I know some visuals, and he pushed his hat up, and he's like, "What's it look like?" I looked at him. I said, "It looks like we're going to the hospital." It put a gash in his head about, I don't know, inch and a half. Just split his head open. He's like, "Is it that bad?" I said, "Yeah, it's that bad. Put your hat down." It wasn't even bleeding. It was one of those so blunt force that it didn't even bleed. And he said, "It can't be that bad." And so he goes into the house, and he's standing there in the mirror. And like I said, my brother was different. He's grabbing his forehead. And he's going and pulling the skin apart. And he's like, "Oh, look, that's my skull." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm about to throw up over here in the corner." I'm like, "No, come on, let's go to the hospital." So anyway, we ended up calling the ambulance because he said he had pointed out because we had training with the ambulance service, and he had said a head injury like that could cause you to have seizures and stuff. So we had the ambulance come and take him to the hospital. But that's another reason why I don't mess with a hand crank. No, no. So anyway, there you go. Repeat of the junkyard story. Tommy says he hand cranked his Model A in my youth. Yeah, and the Model A may not be too bad. 4-cylinder, not super high compression. Rick, from the old Ford crank, you end up with that knock on your chin. Yeah, you very well could. Shane, we didn't have all those car problems when horses pulled us around. The only gas we had to worry about was the horses. Yep, that's true. Terry says my mom wants to know if the cat posters are on there also. They might be. You have to go look. But if you don't find a cat poster, you can get one of the other ones. Robert, I've started an old tractor by hand, and there were sailboats we used that had hand crank start, diesel engines in them. Got to be in the right position and crank it palm up in case it kicks. Yeah. Now they did have those set up where you had a crank where it would like crank a spring or something, and then lock in position, and then you would hit another release, and that would make the engine turn. So that was a variation that they came out with, but yeah, not going to do it. Robert, I felt much safer in the pens with the ostriches I used to take care of. Did you ever ride one, though? That's the question. You ever ride an ostrich? Brian, late to the party, but got here. Hope everyone is surviving winter. Really enjoyed the washer trashing Barry. Well, yeah. Well, that washing machine, Roger and I looked at it, and he's like, "That's got a stainless drum in it. That would make a good fire pit." I said, "I thought the same thing." And so, hey, why not? Tear it apart, get it out of there. And now I have this little stainless steel drum that I can burn stuff in. Woohoo! In fact, we were at a friend's house last night, and they have this fancy smokeless fire pit. I don't know if you ever all see one of those, but it's a stainless steel drum, and it's double wall, and it has like an air intake on the outside at the bottom, and then it's like an air cavity, and there's holes at the top on the inside, and I guess in that action it actually pulls the burns it more straight up, and there's hardly any smoke, if any, which is cool, except it also takes all the heat with it. So like here's this stainless steel drum, you could almost put your hand on the outside because it wasn't getting any heat at all. I mean, it was hot enough that you didn't want to leave your hand on it. You would get a burn, but you could touch it. But if you wanted to get warm from one of these fires, it's not going to happen. So I pulled out a picture of my stainless steel washer drum, and I said, "This is what you need. This makes some heat." And it did. Roger and I were sitting around that fire at the end of that video, and it was like, "Oh, this is making some heat. This is making some heat." It was good. Dave Conville, cat posters. What did I miss? I might try hand cranking my T at some point, but nothing bigger than that, not even the A. Yeah, the T may not be so bad. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to hand crank anything. Nope. Not at all. I got too many other problems. Too many things falling apart. But that happens. That happens. Okay. It is about that time. We're almost an hour and a half into it. And, Robert, did you have sticks, marshmallows, and hot dogs for the fire? No. No, did not. And Roger says to get warm with the double walled, you almost had to get close enough to set yourself on fire. That is true. That is very true. Brian, I had an old Cat 22 gas dozer with a crank start. Luckily, those were low compression engines. Yeah. And like I said, some of those actually had a crank that would like wind up a spring, and then you could hit the release, and that spring would make the engine rotate. But yeah, not going to play with any of that. Okay. So it's been a good night. We've had some fun talking about different things. We probably didn't talk a whole lot about cars, but that's okay too. Sometimes you just hang out. If we had beer, we'd have beer together, right? Not going to do that though. It's a family show. But I want to thank you all for being here. Again, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with your families, friends, all that sort of thing. Be safe out there. There's all kinds of crazy people driving around doing crazy stuff. And of course, our society today is there's a bunch of crazy people out there. But I hope everybody has a good week and a good weekend. And I'll be back next Monday and we'll do this all again. Maybe I'll have some good news for you. Maybe. But for now, until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.